Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. It is beautiful out here in Michigan. I am doing a video today. It's going to be kind of a story time about my epidural experiences with my two pregnancies that I've had, my two sons, and one of them was amazing and one of them was completely awful. And before I get into that video, don't forget to subscribe and give this video a like. So with my first pregnancy, I was 19 years old. This was in 2015. I got pregnant with my first son, Xavier. He was due in May. I did not go into labor naturally. I had to go in because I had low movement. I was doing my kick counts, and you know, if you have ever been pregnant before, they tell you to do kick counts to count how many kicks you feel in an hour, and if you feel, I think it's less than 10, to call your doctor. I waited an hour and I think I only felt him kick one time, which isn't good. So I went into the hospital. Me and my husband went into the hospital and they were monitoring him, and at first they said everything was fine, and we were there for, I think they were monitoring me for like an hour, and they said everything was fine. And I'm sorry if you hear noises, that's cars going by and my son is sitting over there. But anyways, so yes, they monitored me for an hour. They said everything was looking fine, but they wanted to monitor me longer. So we stayed there for another hour, and then they said that they wanted to admit me, which they didn't really they didn't really tell me what was going on, which was frustrating because I, as a new mom, was freaking out and I wanted to know what was going on, like what's wrong with the baby. So they admitted me and I had to be induced. To make a long story short, I had to be induced because he was having, his heart rate was going up and down. So I was induced, and I knew I wanted an epidural going into the hospital. Like, that was my birth plan. I wanted an epidural. I was like, I don't think I can take the pain. So I was in labor for 2 days with my son, my first son, Xavier, and I didn't get an epidural till later in my labor. Obviously, I think that's what they do normally. They wait until near the end to give you an epidural, maybe? I don't know. That's just what they did with me. So they gave me the epidural and I was so nervous. I was literally like sweating, like so wet, like sweating, because I was so nervous to get this epidural, and I'm hunched over and they're going, like the anesthesiologist is about to put it in my back, and I'm like holding my husband's hand, like freaking out, and he's like, "You're done." And I didn't even realize that it was over. So I was like, oh, that's it? That was easy. Like, I didn't think a big needle going into my spine would be like not painful, but it wasn't. Like, at least for me, it wasn't during that time. So I got this epidural and it didn't really work as I thought it would. It didn't take away all the pain. I thought it would take away all the pain, but I could still feel the pain of the contractions, but I was able to fall asleep. And when I went to go push with him about an hour later, I think they turned it off because I could feel everything. It was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. Worse than the contractions, worse than anything. The pushing was the worst. So that's that story. It didn't work all the way, my epidural. So going into my second pregnancy a year later with my son, with that guy over there, my son Lawrence, I didn't know if I wanted an epidural. So I didn't know if I wanted an epidural with my second labor because the first time it didn't work like that well. So I was like, is it really worth it? Because they gave me a different medication also that I mean, it worked just, I feel like just as well as the epidural, but it didn't last as long. that I was like, maybe I can just get that. So going into my second labor, I was also induced because of medical reasons. I was trying to hold off as long as possible to get an epidural because I was like, I don't want to go through getting, I mean, the needle didn't really hurt, but it still freaks me out, and I didn't want to go through that again and have it like not work as well as I thought it would. I felt like it was pointless. But after getting 2 doses of the gas, not gas, but like different, it was like kind of like laughing gas medicine that they gave me. I couldn't take it anymore, and I wasn't as in labor as long with my second pregnancy, but it was still pretty bad. So I decided to get the epidural. About, I think, 4 hours in, I decided to get the epidural, and this one was a lot worse getting it. I have a curve in my back. I have scoliosis. So I always warn them, obviously, if they're doing anything to my back about that I have a curve in my back. So I'm hunched over, and the anesthesiologist is putting this needle into my back. Of course, I'm shaking and sweating again and nervous. I mean, I feel like anybody would be nervous. There's a needle going into your spine. So she's poking me, and she gets it in, and I'm like, okay, it's done. But I feel pain. I can feel the needle in my spine. Like, it's very painful, which with my first pregnancy, it wasn't painful at all. So I'm like, what's going on? Yes, this was with you. And so she's like, oh wait, I didn't get it. She has to take it out. She goes and looks at my spine again, reinserts it. I am in so much pain. I am going through contractions. She's telling me to hold still. I'm hunched over in a very awkward position with this big belly, and I can't take it. She was like poking me. She poked me about 7 times, taking it in and out 7 times. And when it was the 4th time, I was like, no, I don't want it anymore. I can't do it. This needle going into my back is so painful. And she's like, the anesthesiologist is like, well, the curve in your back is causing some problems getting the needle in correctly. And I literally can't speak at this point because I'm going through contractions. And she just keeps poking me with this needle, and I'm crying. And my mom is waiting out in the hallway because they didn't allow 2 people in the room, so only my husband could be in there. And my mom is worried that something is going wrong. But after the 7th time, she finally gets it in, and I could finally lay back, and it starts to work, and I could feel nothing. My lower half was literally numb. I was like in freaking heaven. It was great. It was just great. But so when it was time to push, I could feel nothing. But they asked me, they're like, do you think you can push with the epidural still on? And I'm like, heck yeah, I want to push with the epidural still on. And I think I can feel like I can feel when a contraction is still happening. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but you can feel it. And they're like, well, we're just worried that you're not going to be able to have the sensation to push. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have the sensation to push because I'm not taking this epidural. It was great. It was great. But I start to push, and everything went smoothly. I could feel the contractions. I could feel when to push. I was not in any pain. Like, even after when he came out and she was stitching me up, she was like, can you feel that? My doctor said that. And I was like, nope, can't feel anything. It was beautiful. So that was my second delivery. So between the 2 times that I've had an epidural, the first time, which was awful, it went in fine, but they didn't get it in correctly, I think. So it didn't work. And my second time, which she had to poke me 7 times, and it was so painful, but it worked in the end. I don't know what I would rather have. Maybe next time I will try to do it without an epidural. I don't know, but having the outcome I had with my second pregnancy, I might do it again. But everybody's different. Like I said, I have a curve in my back, so I have a grumpy guy on my hands, but like I said, I have a curve in my back, so everybody's different. Everybody doesn't have that curve in their back, obviously doesn't have scoliosis, so you most likely wouldn't have a problem getting it in. But since I did, and now I know that it's such a problem, I might not do it again. That was my 2 epidural stories. Thanks for listening and watching, and I hope this was informative for some people who might have scoliosis like I do, or just wanted more information on an epidural. I'm going to be posting another video this week, hopefully. And let me know what you guys want to see down in the comments. I might start vlogging. I don't know. I feel like my life isn't interesting enough to start vlogging. What do you think? He says no. But anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Get him, get him! Get him, get him, get him!